supposed to start like after 30 seconds. I guess not. Hold up. All right, so how you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing fine. So let's see. All right, so I was on Facebook, and then I actually came across. I was on Facebook, right? And I actually came across this this post. Actually, I thought it was actually quite interesting, and I'm about to share it. So technically, it was supposed to be how, let's say, white women insert themselves or center the conversation when it comes to race, center the conversation around them. But I also think that it doesn't just apply to just white women. There's also other factor he actually applies to. So let's see. Let's check it out, shall we? All right. So here's the post. Can you guys see it? All right. So it says 5 ways white women center themselves in a conversation about race. The first one is crying. I don't care whether you're crying because you feel attacked or crying because you feel guilty. Either way, you need to stop. When you cry, the natural focus shifts to you because many folks don't feel comfortable continuing a conversation with discussion. Have I somehow invoked like a past trauma to that person or something like that, right? So even though that can be the case sometimes, right? But it can also be used in a manipulative way. So then the shift of the conversation is shifted towards something personal, like, well, you know what? It's what about me? I'm a victim, and I'm this, and so it's like, now you can even talk about the statistic aspect of your argument, or even the lawful aspect of your argument right now, because the person that you are talking to is so emotionally distraught that you're like, oh damn, now I feel like shit, right? So crying is a very tactical way that people can find a way to shift or manipulate the conversation to into their benefit, right? And now the second way is yep, redirecting to your trauma, which I kind of covered that up in the first one, right? Trauma and mental illness are both very real and should be taken seriously. That said, conversation about racism are not the time and place to focus on the struggle you've been through in your life, nor are they sufficient excuses for not engaging in the intentional work of anti-racism. Like I said earlier, so crying is one of the things that people use to deflect, to get the heat of the conversation off of what it was supposed to be about, right? So then once you start crying, people start feeling bad for you, and then now they have to stop the conversation. So it's like, oh shit, hope you're all right, man. Miss, I hope you're all right, miss. Something like that, right? And now redirecting that shit to your personal trauma, right? I was personally affected by racism, and for you to even say it so lightly and talking about it so nonchalant means that you don't care. Your ethic is so disturbing. How dare you, Art? How dare you? right? So that's redirecting your own personal trauma into the conversation that is actually taking place. And then now the focus now shift is no longer about the conversation. The conversation no longer becomes the focus. You've become the focus now, right? So, in the person continue, I always find these redirect ironic because racism is traumatic. Is traumatic. Constantly dealing with white fragility is traumatic. By recentering the conversation to be about you and your trauma, you are contributing to the racial trauma of the person you are speaking to, right? So that is, like I said, white people do that a lot, but you also have other people, could be, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, right? But it's all about trying to turn this into something like, personal, in order to redirect the conversation, and then to make to be so you become the center of attention instead of the conversation itself, right? So yeah, redirecting your trauma, that is very tactical. And then so I guess in a way, a lot of these people are actually acting like white women when it comes to speaking about race. All right, so number 3, bringing up times when you were a good ally. Please stop. You think we can't tell, but I promise you we can. I don't want to hear about that one time when you stood up for a black person. I don't want to hear about how inspiring the book you've read last month was. And I certainly don't want to hear about that one friend you have who who you noticed did something racist once. I'm sorry. You're just not going to be getting a biscuit for any of that. Save yourself some energy, girl. Quit the show. We'll know if you are a good ally if you show us with your actions. When you recenter yourself in this way, it forces us to reassure you that you are, in fact, a good person and not a racist. It's exhausting. So we do actually see that sometimes, right? When let's say, okay, especially those who are not black, and then take on those hotep talking point, talk about white supremacy, talk about this and talk about that. What these individuals, they try to do, right? They try to cater to the lowest common denominator of that society. It's almost as if like it is insulting to think that the people that you are catering to is a representation of what you speak of, right? So, for example, if your whole shtick is about, white supremacy, this, or, black unity, blah, 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 right? And the only people that you cater to, for the most part, the ones that you actually fear to criticize, are the low hanging fruit of black society. You're not trying to have, or center yourself around, let's say, those who are working towards the betterment of, let's say, black people, right? But you simply center yourself around those who actually want to see the destruction of black society, those who actually try to, that purposely try to dehumanize other black people. And I think when that situation occur, right, it tells me two things. One, well, you try to center that conversation around you. It's almost kind of like being a dwarf around a whole bunch of midgets. You're still a midget, right? But you feel taller because you surround yourself with other midgets. And so that's why that tells me. And then two, it also gives you the leverage, because now if you can cater to the lowest common denominator of black society, then you can now have the green light to go after the other black people which you don't like, right? So then you can call them all the racial slur, such as coons or whatever. As long as you toe the line, you don't go all the way, but just enough So you could actually tell all the racial rhetorics that you always want to say, or you actually say in your private life, and then you can now direct that energy to the black people that you don't like. But because you can now point out to the black people that you hang out with, right? Be like, see, hey, look at me. You know what? I'm not being racist. You know, look at all the people that's that love sharing with me. It's like that also destructive to the black race as well. But you do have a past now, and that is actually quite a very intelligent cover, because you see that happen all the time. Like you would see certain videos on YouTube. You see, like, white liberals, or white people that are being like extremely racist towards black people, whites or Latino or whatever, right? They are being racist towards black people. But because they can claim now, hey, look at that, I'm fighting for black justice, so then therefore I can be racist towards a black person. So that happened all the time. Hold on, let me check the comment section. See, what up, Charlotte? What's going on? How you doing, Siri? Hey, I'm glad you guys checking it out. All right, so that is number 3, right? So so you bringing up time when you are a good ally, basically. So it's like very slick. And then now let's check out number 4, credentialing. This is something that Robin DiAngelo discussed in her book White Fragility, shaped by her learning from black folks. Stop talking about all the qualification you have in this area. Having black friends, living in black neighborhood, getting a degree in ethnic study, working in social justice, writing a book. I don't care how official the credential sounds. If you are white, there are not enough credential in the world to immunize you from racism. This really builds off the last point, because you are again centering yourself in a way that expect the person you are speaking to validate your credential as sufficient credit to excuse you of your racism. Again, that comes through, I guess G. Larry would call them the snow taps, right? So you have the snow tap and the tackle tap. So when you do have individual, right, that they get a lot of black talking point, they become expert in black talking point, they become expert in Afrocentric talking point, in a way to divert the way they actually when they attack another black person. Like, see, I'm not racist, look at how I'm able to talk your language, right? So it's all about, like, you try to you create that credential about yourself, and then point out all the studies you've done about black culture or African culture and all this shit, and then everything is good. You basically study the hoteps, studying the hoteps, so that give you the credential, so then you can latch out at the people that you consider that is not black enough, right? You going after other black people and calling them that they are anti-black. So basically now you become the naysayer about who's black or not, because now you have the credential, you have your degree and Blackistan. You went to going to the University of Blackistan. Hold on a second, guys. Hey, what's up? Yep. Yep. That's
What is the address?
Hold on a second. 300-02, right?
When they close?
What happened? Yeah, that what is it? State Route. Yeah, if you go around all the way on the corner and stuff like that, and then you would actually you would see those doors. You would talk to one of them, and you talk.
Can I cross or like
No, you have to go online, man. Sorry.
I need to back?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But every time they close.
I have no idea what time they close. So trust me, I've been staying here for like a good half hour.
No problem.
Yeah. All right, my dude. Sorry about that. All right, I'm back. So yeah, I'm waiting for a load to actually I'm waiting for to get loaded and stuff like that. So there's like this long ass line. A lot of these trucks are waiting. So this guy was like lost, asking me for some directions. But anyway, so yeah. All right, now let's go back to the last point. So now you understand how the credential system works, right? So first, some people they use their tiers in order for you to actually stop talking about, to stop having those harsh conversations, those realistic conversations, right? Because it might be too negative, right? So then tears is tears and your trauma is one of the ways to diffuse that kind of conversation and actually try to stop it, right? So you have that, um and then you have your credential, like, hey, I've studied black, blah blah blah, so therefore that I can tell you that you're not black enough, type of shit. All right, so you have that. And then now let's say number 5, apologizing for white people and expressing your guilt. Apologizing for white people and expressing your guilt. Unless you are being called out for specific harm you caused, I'm not sure why you are apologizing. I certainly don't understand why you are apologizing for people other than yourself. You can't do that. Often, when I'm talking to white people about race, I'm looking for active listening, for empathy, compassion, and solidarity, not apologizing and not guilt. I can't do anything with your guilt. When you center the conversation this way, the person you are speaking with is forced to accept your apology or attempt to ease your guilt. Apologies. To be honest with you, that trick worked on a lot of black folks, right? Because I'm not saying the majority of them, but a lot of black folks, they love when white people pander to them. Not just white people, but also like white, Hispanics, and other racial, right, races, when they are pandering to black people. So I think apologizing for what your race have done, I think is the lowest form of pandering. Well, actually, the highest form of pandering. Excuse me, but it works nonetheless, right? So that's why a lot of these folks they try to surround themselves with the section of the section of black society that doesn't represent black society, but that have the loudest voice, that get the loudest attention of black society. So it's almost as if, like, look, ghetto people don't represent me, right? um Trashy behavior doesn't represent me. But however, the attention in the media, as well as the attention of a lot of these folks, white or Hispanics that are pandering to the black culture, will then try to pander to these folks. They are now trying to pander to the folks that shouldn't represent black culture, but because the stereotype has been around for so long, so then now they feel like, well, these are the black people I need to associate myself with in order to feel accepted in the black community, instead of actually associating yourself with, like, black folks that are constructive, not destructive. You know, people that actually are not trying to dox other folks, because of people that can actually withstand critical thinking, that are not all emotional, that are not like yeah, like an emotional white woman, right? So then it's easier when you associate yourself with that particular group of black folks, then you can finesse them, you can manipulate them, you can actually get them to, like, you can run your game on them, right? So apologizing for white people and expressing your guilt it is quite interesting that actually a lot of people still do that, right? So when you recenter the conversation this way, the person you're speaking with is forced to accept your apology or attempt to ease your guilt. So yeah, so that's pretty much what that stream was about. um So, hey, what up, Omega? How you doing? You know. So, yeah. Hold on. Oh, your boss came. Don't get in trouble. DR Power 1965. Okay. All right. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, these type of conversation is it's not easy to have certain conversations, right? Let's say when we're talking about, let's say, racial issue, when we're talking about relationship issues, when we're talking about cultural issues. So therefore, I think a wise man once said, right, sometimes in order to get to the truth, you have to risk being offensive, right? So therefore, certain conversation, if you don't have the emotional maturity to have those conversations, it's best to not even try to insert yourself in those conversations. Because if you're gonna bring about, like, your past trauma and so on and so forth in a way to like what you call it. I mean, listen, I get it, right? Because sometimes your personal experience, obviously, right? Your personal experience is part of the thing. It's one of the things that shape your personal your perspective, right? But when you now try to shape others' perspective, right, solely based on your own personal experience, and then you try to divert the conversation, and then you center it around you instead of the the topic as a whole, then it can come across quite manipulative, you know. And yeah, and sometimes it works. Actually, a lot of time it works, because you are now thinking about it like, oh shit, I hope I didn't, I hope I didn't offend you, but I wasn't trying to offend you. What I'm trying to say is this, and that, right? No, no, no. You know what? Like, something bad happened to me when I was 12, and so on and so forth. Like, dude, all right. Look, listen, I get it, I understand, but it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this, and that. But you are being insensitive. You are being a jerk. You are being this. You're being that. Like, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. What I'm saying, this is the conversation. This is my perspective, right? Oh, I can't believe I do not like your morality and your ethic. I'm sorry, Art. I'm sorry. That's it. Okay. All right. Cool. It was nice meeting you, I guess. So it's like, YouTube is a harsh place, right? YouTube, one of the things that I like about YouTube is that some of the conversation, some of the topic can be quite rough, right? It can be very, yeah, it can be, very emotional sometimes, you know, and therefore, if you don't have the the emotional stability to be able to have those conversations, or to be able to have this type of criticism, and sometimes even bashing. I mean, shit, dude. I have people talking shit to me about, being a stepdad, as if like it's a bad thing. I mean, I get it. If it's coming from the type of individual who even think that, taking care of your own kid is somewhat an insult, or is somewhat of a bad situation on them. So I do understand why they would actually use being a stepdad as a diss, and no understanding that, and understanding where these people are coming from. I have no choice but to laugh at it because it is quite interesting when you see, though, it's the way this criticism comes about. It's not coming from a place of being genuine. It's coming from a place of interesting. It's entertainment. So therefore, you have to take it as entertainment, right? So now, hold on. I thought you guys were friends while talking down on him. If you had so much respect, talking down on who? I don't know. You got to be more specific. So, because so far I'm actually just having a general conversation as to how people uses, um, you know, emotion in order to actually direct certain conversation and to center themselves around that conversation instead of actually talking about the topic itself. Dr. Power 1965. Hey, what's going on, John? I'm about to get my critics on. Uh, well, listen. So whatever it is, it's not about the person that you just mentioned, John. All right. So if the shoe fit, then I guess so be it. But a lot of people nowadays are very I would kind of call them Cinderella men. So therefore, some of the criticism may apply to them. That's true. But I'm speaking from a general perspective how people use whatever they have at their disposal to actually garner or whatever the case may be. So yeah. Anyways, what's going on, John? Now, so what do you guys think of this conversation? What do you guys think about this topic, this particular topic on how white people, how they actually center themselves, 5 ways white women center themselves in conversations about race, right? And then I see it this way: it's not just white people; it's just people in general, you know. So that's why it's like I see it this way: if you cannot have those type of conversation, then it's best to surround yourself with those who actually make you feel good, right? So that that give you that the pendering that you are actually looking for. But anyway, so I heard I could get my daily fix of butter biscuit. Oh, I gotta highlight this shit. Oh, hold up. I heard I could get my daily fix of butter biscuit here. Just throw them in the air. I'll catch them in my mouth. What's going on, SKC? What's going on? Hold on. Somebody says, Omega says this is a debate tactic. They sandwich to disarm. Yeah, I agree. It is a it does. It is an effective debate tactic. It is. So, but anyway, let's not act. That's not who you're talking about. Hey, if the shoe fit, so be it. But no, it's not. That person you're speaking of in particular. So, like I said, I'm speaking of people that actually use specific type of ways to do that. I don't know if it's like that. Is it like that? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, so yeah. Anyway, guys, this is gonna be a short one. I might do another stream later on today. You know me. Sometimes I'm like all over the place. Like it will be like days before I do a stream, and then sometimes I will just jump in and actually just do a stream. But yeah, and Dr. Power 1965. Good. I don't. The person that you mentioned, I don't think he's a snow tip. You know, so certain things might apply to him. I don't know, but certain things might not apply to him. So therefore, like I said, a lot of people inspire me to make videos. So when I get those inspiration and then I see things like that, like for example, like I said, I ran open this post on Facebook and I was like, yo, that is quite interesting. So that's why I decided to actually do a video about it. But yeah, anyway, so it's Arbanaka. Share, like, comment, subscribe. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.